Hi, I'm Alex, and today I'm going to be talking about Yi Sun Shin. Yi was born on the 28th of April, 1545 in Hansong, and he grew up playing war games as a kid. Pretty good at it even. He could fletch his own bows and arrows in his teen years. But he got thrown into Hassan in 1552 after his dad was locked up for no reason. At least he met this other cool guy, Yu Song Rong. Surprisingly, this guy failed his first military exam because of a broken leg from falling off a horse, but at least he completed it. Off to fight Jurchens in northern Korea, get tortured, become a civilian magistrate of some random province, and then get a naval position in Jolo. Yi was promoted a whole bunch from fighting pirates around Korea, and was put in an even more important position when Toyotomi wanted to cross Korea to fight China. Now, Yi was already pretty good at war, but this was his ultimate test. He was put against an enemy who had been fighting land wars for decades before this one. And as an admiral, this sounds pretty bad. But remember what old Sun Tzu said: army, something, stomach. Now, 1592, Korea's basically out of it, and he was made admiral of the entire fleet in 1593. Pretty cool. With this, he did what you'd expect him to do: destroy the Japanese fleet. Yeah, the only thing that stopped him? The Korean court, who fell for an obvious double agent plot and tortured him for not walking to a rake and hitting his head. Yi was replaced by Wang Gyun, and what does this guy do? In his sheer bravery, utter competence, and legendary skill, he lost the whole fleet and died. Yi now only had 12 to 13 ships to work with, which was no problem, because at Myeongyang Strait, he still beat up the Japanese like they were a wet fart. This was because he had a pretty good knowledge of the terrain and he knew the violent straits switched directions every 3 hours. He timed this with the Japanese retreat, so they wouldn't. Meaning, out of 133 Japanese ships, 31 of them were lost. Pretty cool, right? Too bad! Because Yi died in the next battle over this, in Noryang, where Yi was fatally shot, and he told his son and nephew to dress up like him and continue hitting the war drums and command ships around to avoid any morale issues. Still though, before this, Yi was already beating up the Japanese fleet pretty hard, even saving the Chinese admiral who was with him, who then cried unbelievably hard. He fell to the ground thrice after hearing of his death. Just like me after reading about that. Yi was pretty cool, and without him, Korea would definitely not be the same. Matter of fact, it wasn't even the same after 30 years of occupation by the Japanese. Hundreds of years later, imagine a period of occupation as long or longer than that. Which probably makes a lot of them pretty proud of their country, or that one guy in particular. While most people sometimes think of Rome, I think about Korea, and more specifically, I think about Yi.